otherwise be interpreted as radical? Heinrich nods. That is correct. I should show greater tolerance for the mistakes of a newly appointed rogue trader. To be frank, I am surprised. The Lord Inquisitor is not the type to indulge the weakness of soul and mind, even in someone who has only recently accepted the burden of a lofty title. I have already agreed to give you a place aboard my ship. What else? The rogue trader should deliver me to the system that contains the industrial world of Kiava Gamma. I will then accompany you to the surface and determine what the cult is planning and how it intends to use the resources that have fallen into their clutches, which may very well include the blessed engines of the Adeptus Mechanicus and even the followers of the Omnissiah themselves. I will be frank. The answer to the question is likely to please either of us. The machinations of chaos usually go beyond solely inflicting countless deaths and destruction. Having their plans come to fruition would lead to far more terrible consequences. One of the systems in the Kronos Expanse is already lost. May the Emperor protect us from watching this tragedy play out again. We met a Chaos Space Marine on Rykat Minoris. Do we risk running into his brothers? I have no doubt it will happen sooner or later, Mukluk. Chaos Marines siding with the cult is very, very bad news. Most likely, they kept away until recently, pulling their puppet strings from a respectable distance. The traitors seldom show up alone. The best we can count on is having to deal with just a squad of Space Marines in the Kronos Expanse and not an entire company. Why did your suspicion fall on Kiava Gamma? Disjointed pieces of data that finally merged into a single picture. Additionally, not long ago, a vessel from that world arrived on Footfall. The reports from the crew were confused and alarming, making me fear a planet-wide rebellion. I won't let anyone throw their weight around on my worlds, be they servants of chaos, Xenos, or heretics. A commendable aspiration for a person who holds the fate of billions of people and dozens of Imperial worlds in his hands, which is why you need to be ever more vigilant when looking for seeds of corruption on your planets, lest they sprout someday and spell doom for whatever is tangled up in their roots. That is enough discussion about the arch-enemy's servants. Tell me about the Drukhari who stole Rykad's son. Heinrich winces. The Drukhari, one of the branches of the Eldari, an ancient and vicious Xenos race. Those creatures are a living terror to ordinary people who fall prey to their raids for the simple reason that the victims are not killed outright but instead become their playthings. Just as you and I need air to survive, Drukhari requires psychic energy born from torment and pain, which they extract from their captives with uncanny expertise. Give me just a sec here. Okay. Alright, boop. Their ships, which are difficult to mistake for any other, arrive suddenly and undetected. Their stealth technologies greatly surpass the capabilities of standard Imperium augur arrays. The objective of their raids is never to capture a world or ship. No, they are only interested in fresh victims. After filling their holds with living captives, they disappear into the Webway, a different dimension which conceals their great stronghold, Kamarog, the dark city of the Drukhari from which none can hope to escape. Heinrich studies your expression. I do not know why the Drukhari stole Rykad's son and brought about the fulfillment of the cult's prophecies. Perhaps the Xenos themselves have played into the archenemy's designs, or perhaps Aurora's divinations, in fact, describe the Drukhari's actions. There is only one thing I can say with absolute certainty. There is no alliance between the cult of the Final Dawn and the Xenos. It is simply impossible. I must go about my business. Is there anything else I should know? Let me put it this way. You may think whatever you want of me, but my goal is not to hinder you. I am here to help you in the fight against foes that you may not even be aware of. You have my word that I will provide every assistance in uprooting the heresy that has sprouted on the Von Valancius worlds while their master was away, and that I will try to be more patient with the less grievous flaws the bearers of the warrant are sometimes known to have. He inclines his head. Thank you for sparing the time, Lord Captain. Okay. Alright, so now I need to talk to Jay. I don't know where she is. Oh, Servile Skull Icon. That's her pet. She's got to be by that.
Allow me to thank you again for helping me with the cargo, Sherin. I am sure the Ashmags who squirreled away my goods won't give up so easily, and I'll hear more about their scheming yet. Let's strike a deal, Sherin. I will watch your back, if you do me a favor and watch mine. Well, enough jokes. Is there something you wanted?
Did you know Theodora von Valancius, my predecessor?
It is difficult not to be aware of the powers that be, especially ones like Lord Captain Theodora. But we never met personally, as the difference between our positions was far too great. Theodora was a mighty ruler, the center of her own universe, and I, a pathetic speck, was nothing next to her. But you were kind to me, Shireen, and in my eyes, that puts you above your esteemed aunt, or whoever she was to you.
Mahuya says, I think this might be closer to a new Ellie Elite than the Orb because of the Chinese post. Mahuya, do you have a link to the Chinese post? I don't know how to go about finding it. Was there some business you wish to discuss?
Oh, Shireen, I did manage to spark your interest. Allow me to invite you to a more private place. My words are meant for your ears alone.
Going right back to my office. Yep. The flickering light of dozens of candles play across Jay's face, making her small smile appear even more mysterious. Shireen, the Exalted One himself brought us together the day you crossed Vladame's threshold. He led us to the cargo and gave us his blessing for it in return. Do you know what people in my world say when such a thing happens? What's gained is to be shared with your neighbor. She points at the containers in front of her. One contains a polished Eldari rifle, a rare model, and the other holds an ornate sword. I am sharing what I've gained with you. Please accept these humble gifts in honor of our wildly successful, though suddenly struck friendship. Wanderer's Portent requires Eldari proficiency. Bloodseeker Clave requires Drukari proficiency. I can't use any of these! Let's see. No, but I can get you some article about it. I never crossed the Great Wall. The Great Wall, okay. Let's see. I accept it with gratitude. I knew you would appreciate the Xenos mastery of their craft. Jay beams at you, curling a lock of black hair around an augmented finger. After a brief pause, she awkwardly continues. So, the matter I wanted to discuss with you is related to my business. You know that I sell Xeno artifacts to interested Imperial subjects and Imperial trinkets to Xenos. Business is going well, my network runs even without my participation, but when it comes to expansion, that's where I hit a wall. Rivals, envious of my success. Jay throws up her hands. Falco especially, I am certain the theft of the cargo was his doing, but I can never predict what that Ashmag will do next, and while the Imperium's authority may be fragmented in the Expanse, it could crack down on people of my profession at any moment. Go on. If the rogue trader put in a good word for me with the servants of the Adeptus Administratum, I could become an official trade representative of the Imperium. Just imagine it. A little scrap of paper will offer me and my agents protection against Ashmag schemes far better than any refractor field. And even the Inquisition will have to think twice before they mess with me because I'll be a representative of the law in my own right. And the best part of it all is that it will cost you precisely nothing, Shireen. All you have to do is stop by the Administratum Palace and obtain a certificate from the Master of Seals. My informants tells me that the palace is located on Dargonis, your capital world. You see how everything has aligned so wonderfully. And of course, I will repay you in kind. How do I benefit from you gaining official status? Besides being in receipt of my eternal gratitude, Shireen. She playfully raises a brow. Won't it be beneficial to have someone in your retinue with the weight of authority behind them rather than just another pawn? One slip of paper and I'll be able to extend my network to systems far beyond footfall. My agents will be your eyes and ears throughout the expanse. I shall take it into consideration. Perhaps your thoughts will move in the right direction with a little encouragement from me, Shireen. You must have some faction in mind that you would like to establish relations with. The Severe Drusians, the hot-headed pirates of the Kazbalika. You merely need to use the right words, like a key for a lock, and people will open their hearts to you or their wallets. I will arrange everything, you merely have to ask. I mean, the first one I want to level is the Navy because they give you all the ship part upgrades. The Adeptus Mechanicus are the partners I need now. Not a problem. I will have my people put in a good word for you in the right circles. You've received 2,000 faction with the Explorators. If you change your mind about my proposal, you could always find me nearby on the bridge. Just say the word and I'll come, Shireen. End dialogue. Hey. No, thank you. Appreciate it, though.
You're welcome. Click easily.
Okay. Alright, so that's the 2 conversations that we needed to have on the ship. So now we can visit another location. Whatever it may be. Alright, let me tab out for just a second. Hold on. Chinese feed for Guild Wars 2 teasers. Latest one has not been uploaded yet. Visit website. Okay. Got it. Alright, so waiting on that one. Lord Captain, we are once more within reach of the Von Valancius Protectorate. Of utmost urgency is restoring communication with your planets and bestowing the wisdom of your decrees upon the stewards. Developing colonies, claiming new territories, and establishing trade links, all this is now your privilege and burden. You've received 3 mobile extractiums. Alright, so we're at Footfall. So... let's look at setting up some extractors down here. Okay, so there's nothing there. Lord Captain, the station's airlocks have been sealed from the inside. A Vox recording is stating that the priesthood of the Alter Templum Calixtus EXT-17 Sanctuary have no desire to communicate with the laity and are refusing access to guests on the basis of the Adeptus Mechanicus' privilege of inviolability, granting them sole jurisdiction over their sacred sites. Okay. A familiar voice cuts through the hissing of the Vox channel. Greetings, what can I do for you? Oh, that's right. This is like the Navy or whatever. Drusus's Blessing. Imperial Navy. Okay, so... alright, got all of that. Should run 4 points. Okay, there's nothing else I can sell here right now. Okay. Check this out. Wait, can I not travel around yet? Oh, chart new routes. Okay, I had to remember how to do it. Let's see. Soto's Tome. Lord Captain, the ship's senior officers request an audience with you. They are humbly awaiting you on the bridge. But we just started driving! They should have gone before we left. Analyzing external hardware. Lord Captain, if I may request your attention a moment, I must report a series of highly dangerous violations that have taken place in the fuel compartment. The Master-at-Arms is ignoring my demands, and I am thus forced to appeal directly to you. Einrig Montag. Alright, so this guy is in charge of putting out fires, literally. The fuelers have found a sect of some kind. The group practices fire worship of the Emperor and has been burning promethium near fuel lines. I beg you to stop this madness before we all go up in flames. Jocasta, I should point out that there have been no incidents in the fuel compartment so far, and that the beliefs of this sect do not affect the obedience of the workers or their efficiency in any way. All assemblies are conducted strictly after hours within the permission of their superiors. However, if you find their practices unacceptable, we will put a stop to them immediately. Does the ecclesiarchy recognize this cult, or is it considered heretical? This matter is beyond my purview. Let Confessor Adalbert be the judge of such businesses. A plump, rosy-cheeked old man steps forward, his voice deep and sonorous. The Emperor protects your lordship. I can assure you that there is no heresy festering in the fuel compartment. The sect of the Fire Prophecies has been tested for purity and found to be in accordance with the Creed. Their leader, who calls himself the Oracle of Fire, is a devout and submissive to his servants. They do not twist the sacred teachings, and as for their chosen forms of worship, they are neither rare nor remarkable. Many such minor cults exist in the Imperium with the full approval of the ecclesiarchy. What? They are burning my promethium? The amount of residue accumulated in the drainage tanks was so laughably small that it was not even worth recording. If there were any real misappropriation of the ship's resources happening here, I would have already punished those involved, Lord Captain. The last sentence carries a faint note of regret. Regret? She's like, I wish I could have hit someone with the bonk stick. Windshark says, do you think it could be Ranger's shield? I think it could be, yeah, just looking at the picture. Does this Oracle of Fire really make prophecies? At least he and his flock believe that the Emperor reveals glimpses of the possible future to him in sacred flame. Occasionally his visions do come true, or so his followers convince themselves. We do not know whether the grace of the God Emperor truly lies upon him, or if he is merely a charlatan, or perhaps a blissful lunatic, or... Zachary Wise, a wicked rogue who possesses psychic power not tempered by his will. A croaking voice interrupts the confessor's words. Lord Captain, as choir master of the Astropathic Choir, I must be watchful of any threats to the ship's safety originating from the Immaterium. I have heard rumors about this oracle, and so I have sent my adepts to see him. They assert that the man is a psyker. This man who speaks to the warp is a danger to himself and the entire vessel. Both law and common sense dictate that he should be thrown into a holding cell, tranquilized, and handed over to the Inquisition to be sent to Holy Terra. Alternatively, you may also dispose of him in some other way. Choir Master Wise, you and I have not yet had the pleasure of conversing. I beg your forgiveness, but I seldom leave the chapel to interfere in the affairs of the ship. My duty requires I keep constant vigil as I direct the arrival and departure of messages across the boundaries of the void. But, given that this incident has already demanded my interference, I thought it a good opportunity to introduce myself and pay my respects to you. I know how to handle this cult. We stand ready to carry out any order. Throw him out an airlock. Oh my god. Alright. I think err on the side of caution. If my Infernus master says they are a danger to the ship, then I am convinced. Disperse the troublemakers. Yes, Lord Captain. By tomorrow, the cult will be forgotten, never to be mentioned again. Okay. Back to the map. Alright, visit Soto's Tome. Okay, so we're here. There's pirates there. I'm gonna tap quick save. Let's go toward the pirates. Oh shoot, how many of them are there? Ooh. At least 3. Dang, it's alive. Not looking good. Okay, that ship's trying to leave. Okay, 2 ships trying to leave. Torpedoes hit. Alright, my shields on the left-hand side are completely broken. I think we just let them go. Alright. 16 scrap, 2 ancient machinery. So I'm realizing I need to do that thing where I, like, assign officers to stations for the ship for this run. How do I do that? Void ship management. Okay. First time this playthrough, we've gone to this. Alright, let's see. That. Add to cargo. 13 speed, low exposure. Okay, that's an upgrade. Actually, kind of an upgrade. It's upgrading one stat, downgrading another. Auger ray, that's an upgrade. So can run double lances. The torpedoes really helped me a minute ago. So I don't know if I want to run double lances. Could also run double torpedoes. I'll stop there for now. Okay. Alright, so... let's see. Alright, so she's there, you get swing run. Let's see. Master Cannoneer. She gives torpedo control. She gives expeditious reload. Reload all macro cannons that were fired during the acceleration phase. This one, he gives reinforced shields. He does shield pulse. Let's put him there for now. Supreme Commander, focused efforts. Allows the use of both abilities of one selected post for 1 turn. She gives swing run. Master of Maneuvers. He does new heading. She also does new heading. Warp Channeler. Shallow jump. He also has shallow jump. She has warp wave. This is the thing that, like, makes another ship, like, spin. Master of Etherics. Vulnerability scan. Flying next shot gives +2 range. Okay, do that for now. Alright, so now I've got some abilities to use. Alright. Alright, so pirate's done. What's here? Scan the planet. Plasteel. Put an extractor. Imperium cartographers and chroniclers know this place well. Long ago, the planet was a prosperous outpost capable of eclipsing even footfall. There used to be a Cyclopean tome station on its orbit, the final resting place of Cornelius Soto, one of the discoverers of the Coronis Expanse. The tome gave its name to the entire system. However, about 400 years ago, an unknown cosmic body rammed into the station, causing it to collapse onto the planet. Not only did the catastrophe kill the settlers, it also made the world uninhabitable for centuries. The crater formed by the station's impact can still be observed from orbit. Soto's tome became a sepulcher for the entire planet. This sort of place has neither life nor loot, but knowing this nasty tricks that life could pull is a treasure in its own right. Space dust. 3 fuel. Space dust. 3 fuel. Okay. Shallow jump and warp wave are both very useful. Yeah. Hey, Muck, the 5th image is out. Yes, Castle. We saw it. What do you think of it? What do you think it is? Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Chart new routes. Avioris. Warp travel. As I am now fated to be your shadow, Daman Mukluk, we must perform a ritual that will seal our bond, for it pleases the Undying One. Let us speak on the bridge, and I will take us to a place appropriate for the ritual. What? What is this ritual? Come and you will see. I do not wish to speak of the mysteries of the blood-spun web over Vox. The knowledge is not meant for the ears of the uninitiated. I will be there. Thank you, Daman. You know, the things I do to date the goth chicks. I wish to inform you that the sacred rituals addressed to the spirit of the ship have been performed. The text liturgy and the rite of the machine blessing ended with a data mediation in order to comprehend the nature of the miracle sent down by the Omnissiah. Acquisition of sacred knowledge has not been recorded. How the spirit of the void ship was able to call upon the power of the machine god and activate the warp drive remains an unknown. Yet, during my meditative ritual, the Omnissiah gave me an equally valuable revelation. The sacred spirit that lives in the bowels of the ship's mechanism differs from other analogous forms. The spirit holds a unique power that cannot be called anything less than a blessing of the machine god. So what does this mean? Hypothesis. In extremis, the ship's spirit is capable of making unpredictable calculations and actions. It is impossible to predict how it will behave in any given situation, but I believe the spirit is currently showing obedience, at least for now. I recommend we continue monitoring the ship and be prepared for new manifestations. Report received. Thank you, Pascal. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. The warp jump went surprisingly smoothly. None of the deck officers on duty reported any incidents. However, a strange discovery awaited the Lord Captain when he returned to his quarters. The bed was unmade, and the impression of a head was still visible on the pillow. There were no other signs of intrusion. The guard swore under oath that nobody had entered the Lord Captain's quarters. The Immaterium has released us from its grip this time. Hami says hard. Hello, Hami. Crimson says, did you take a look? Yes. What do you think it is? We were discussing that earlier. Visit. Oh, lots of stuff here. The 5th Revenant Elite spec. Adamantine. A small human dwelling stands on this barren, deserted planet. Scouts report that an old hermit lives there who spends his days in prayer to the Emperor. Ask the old hermit for a blessing. To the Lord Captain's surprise, the old hermit turned out to be a navigator, and when the old man discovered the noble status of his visitor, he willingly recounted his tale. He had retreated to this planet long ago, back when he was still in his youth, and he had realized that his mind would not withstand frequent forays into the Immaterium, the realm of the archenemy. The hermit spoke with